Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Wednesday morning. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Wednesday morning, guys. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about. I think I have 15. You guys already know when it comes to keeping count with these numbers, I always mix them up. So I think I have 15. If I lose count, please just bear with me. But 15 things that God, all caps, God has given you a promise, a vision, and so on. All right, now I probably can give you triple the amount, but for the sake of time, I pulled 15 and maybe I'll do another 15 at a later time. Number one, you were attacked very, 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 all caps, very early on in life. This can look like you were the target of abuse of any sorts, molestation, physical abuse. You may have been shuffled all around from foster homes. You may have had a parent who was a crackhead or alcoholic father, and it was always just drama and trauma in the household, and so on. But you were attacked very, very early on in some kind of way. Again, it could be in your own household, could be through school, could be the neighborhood, but the whole objective was for the enemy to target you very early on. Because if he hits you early on, then what is that going to do? That's going to shake your confidence. Is going to shake you being secured. And truth of the matter is, as many of you guys know now, in order for you to be in alignment to receive the manifestation of God, you have to be confident. There's absolutely no way around it. You have to be confident. You have to be confident. Number two, you were probably always most understood by a lot of people. This could be just your peers or just anybody. They just couldn't figure you out, right? You couldn't figure yourself out, truth be told, because you didn't know what God was doing. I mean, you didn't even know that there was a call on your life at that point. So it's just like, because you're so different, right? People couldn't figure you out, so you were misunderstood. And even going a little further on, right, through just the processing of the journey, you're also misunderstood because what God has given you is it's very profound in your spirit. So you're telling the average person something. They're going to look at you like you're nuts. They're not going to understand what you're talking about because you're trying to explain in the physical realm what you feel in the spiritual. It's not going to happen. So you're going to always be misunderstood and people are going to think that you're cuckoo. And if you're not confident enough, you will walk away thinking like you are cuckoo. You got to stand so firm on what you feel in your spirit, regardless if your own mama, your own daddy don't agree with it. This is why it's so important to be private. Speaking of private, that's not even one I had added in. I'm going to add that one in. So the numbers are already shuffled. You're probably a very private person. If you're not, please become private. But you probably have always been a very private person. I've always been very private, and I'm also very, very guarded. Not guarded in a bad way, but guarded in the few things that's in my life, the few people that's in my life, very, very guarded over the vision, things like that. And God have just really conditioned you to be that way because he knows where he's taking you. You can't have people up in your business. I don't care how much they pry. You just can't. You just can't. You get one bad apple in there, right? One snake in there, and it's going to literally be detrimental to your promise. So if you're not a private person, please work on that. Number, I don't even know. I'm just starting and I already lost count. Uh, Number three, I think. You live or have lived a very isolated life, a very lonely life. No, not lonely. Alone, but not lonely is what I meant to say. Because you can live a very lonely life, but you're not alone, right? In fact, you can be married and feel alone, but you've lived a very isolated life. And God has set it up that way because when you go further, right? Because right now we're still talking about when you first got the promise many, many, many years ago or a long time ago, right? So what he's doing is he's preparing you now. So when 15 years from the promise or whenever you manifest or God manifests as your promise, then you're used to being alone because you're not going to have a lot of people. If you're the person and you're walking around and you have 50 friends, like there's 50 people that, and I'm not speaking about associates, but there's 50, that's even too much, but you have 50 people who are your friends. And I mean, they're in all of your business. They have access to everything about you. I can probably almost guarantee you that you're stuck. You're probably stuck somewhere and you've been stuck there for a very long time. And there's no way in the world you can move forward because you got too many people involved in something that's very sacred. The next one is, and truth be told, listen, a lot of people just can't be trusted with you. I don't know if you really know how special you are, regardless of what maybe your bullying or whatever have said to you or made you to believe. You're chosen. So it's like you're so special that God has to protect you in a way. So he has to really keep people away from you. And a lot of times people don't understand that. They think like you're too aloof. And it's not that you want to be, it's just the way God conditioned you. Because especially those of you who have like a very, very large promise, like God can't allow people to play with you all kind of way. So you have to be very, very guarded, right? You have to be very guarded. But you will know, all caps, you will know the people that God sent to you versus the one that you pick. The next thing, you were given a seed very early on. It was just a seed. It doesn't look anything like it looks now because now it's blossomed some, right? For some of you already fully blossomed, but it was a seed and it didn't even make sense at the time. It was literally just a seed. God implanted something in you. It could have even been in childhood, right? I know for me, I think I was like maybe 14 when I got a prompting and the seed of what God would be doing in my life, right? And I'm probably, well, never mind. But you were given something very, very early on. It just dropped into your spirit. You didn't go looking for it. It just dropped into your spirit. The next one, number 5, you've dealt with a lot of jealousy and envy, and you couldn't understand why. You couldn't understand why people were so envious of you, so jealous of you. It didn't make sense in your mind because remember, you're struggling yourself, right? God made you different. God gave you something in your spirit that the average person don't have. So you don't move like the masses. And because you don't move like the masses, because now you're, and not to like try to put them under you, they're surface level. And you ain't got time for that, right? Like they're surface level. So because you're so deep and because you're locked onto this promise, they start to think like, oh, you're bougie, or you think you're all that because you can't sit down and talk surface level with us, I guess, right? You can't talk surface level with us, so you think you're better than everybody else. Or when you come in the room, you steal all the attention. You don't even want the attention. That's the crazy part, right? You steal all the attention, not even knowing that there's a light on you that you can't even see yet. So people are gravitating towards you because of your light, because of your spirit. But you don't know that yet because you're not really tapped in yet. So there's a good chance that people just, in fact, these could have been some of the people in your own household. So number 6, guys, I'm sure these numbers are mixed up. You've always probably wanted to do something different, for your life. Like this could be like your career path or what you would have chosen for yourself. Like let's just say you may have, for example, you may have been the person who wanted to get married at, like you knew from a little girl or a little boy, you wanted to get married the minute you graduated college. Like seriously, like you already had all that stuff worked out. And now here you're 74 and you're still single. Because that was not God's plan for you, right? That's what you created. And maybe God will bring your wife at 75. But it's almost like the life you wanted to create it for yourself, it kind of went left and you got in alignment and now you're doing the will of God, which is processing and all that stuff through this promise, purpose and calling and all that stuff. Like for me, for example, I've always, I won't say always, but I've known I wanted to be an RN. But I couldn't understand why I didn't have the grace to do it. Meaning, I'm the person, if I want it, it's mine, point blank, period. If I touch it, it turns to gold, point blank, period. So I'm very confident about what I want to do and I see it through. But that was not the one thing that I had grace on. It just, I would go to class and I just couldn't tap in. Like, first of all, honey, God did not give me the gift of numbers. Let me just tell you, right? I'm praying for the gift of numbers now, honey. Numbers is not my thing. Numbers is listen, I need a whole Motrin when it comes down to dealing with numbers, right? That's not a gift that I have. But anyway, make a long story short, I just didn't have grace to see it all the way through. So God stopped me in the middle of that. And actually, he allowed a friend of mine, because I was sharing this with a friend of mine. And she's like, Kizzy, but maybe that's not what God has for you. I'm like, but my entire family is into the healthcare field, right? But she was right. That's not what God has for me, because whatever God has for you, there's a grace for you to get it done. I had no grace, honey. I wouldn't show up to class, honey. I'm oversleeping. Child, please. So I still ended up in the healthcare field, right? I have my own healthcare agency, but guess what? I'm hands-on. As an RN, you're really not hands-on most of the time. You're in and out, you're in and out, you're in and out, you're in and out, you're in and out. But I get to be hands-on, which in fact, if you guys have read my book, no plug here, just saying, then you will actually see how God used me before each one of my patients transitions, the one who's already transitioned. But most importantly, by me following that path, staying in alignment, it gave me lots and lots and lots of free time that I'm still working, but I'm here with you guys, right? I'm still working, but I got time to write books. I'm still working, but I can be in the streets if I choose, right? I have a lot of free time and then making more money than what the RN would have made. So you see the difference. Sometimes we ourselves choose our own career path or just what we want to do in our lives. Maybe you want to play a guitar, right? And travel the world with a backpack. But that's not what God has for you. You can still do it, but it's just not what God has for you. So this is why many people miss the blessings that God has for them, because they chose to do their own way. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Truth be told, it's probably more easy. I'm just going to keep it real, but I'm just saying. The next one. Listen. This probably would be one of the most, if I had them in any particular order, I would probably have this as number one. It will not leave you. It keeps coming back. And I mean, you can walk away from it because you're mad at God for a whole year because something else, or like you can walk away from it 1,000 times, but it will not leave your spirit. It haunts you. Not like haunt in a bad way or like a ghost way, but it haunts you. It won't, it's like, leave me alone. Sometimes you don't even want to be bothered with it, right? But it's like, God will allow it to haunt you so bad and for so long that you finally just throw your hands up and say, all right, Lord, what do you want? What do you need? But it will literally haunt you. And I'm talking about from the time when you first felt the initial seed up until now, or until it fully manifests. It haunts you and it will not leave you, and it keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. You can ignore it and go and start your own business doing something you wanted to do. You can ignore it. Oh, there's a bird on my window. You're staring at me. I'm going to cry. Or you could have just done your own thing and 15 years has passed. And all of a sudden you think, well, I'm just going to sit down and retire. Child, please, that thing coming right back to you. It's coming right back to you 15 years later. That's why some of you got to stop saying that you're too old. Well, I'm 70, so I might as well just... No. That prompting will still come back to you at 70. You might need some Ben Gay to get it done, but you still got to get it done. Whew. Next thing. More than likely, God has graced you with discernment. Very important, of course, because he needs to protect, right? He needs to protect his promise with you. So he's graced you with discernment. The problem is sometimes people ignore that discernment, right? Because if it's really something you want, you're going to try to, well, if you're wise, you want to ignore it, right? But I think my discernment game is so on point. Has always been. God have always given it, even when I couldn't even articulate what the word discernment means. But it's like he gives it to you. That's a gift that comes with it, because it's like he knows he have to protect you and protect this promise so much that he has to give you that gift. Again, you can ignore it if you want. But I'm going to tell you one thing. If you ignore discern, like you know something is off, but you do it because you want it, you talking about burn, that will be, that burn will be more deep than any average time someone else has crossed you. It's like it burns times 5. Like seriously. I think it only happened twice to me in my entire life. And truth of the matter is not that I intentionally ignored it. What happened is, okay, for me, right? You got black, white, and gray, just the colors. Either I'm going to get white, I'm going to get black, or I'm going to get a shade of gray. And that just your spirit, right? White just means you're the truth, right? God sent you. Your spirit is pure. Doesn't mean you're perfect, because you ain't that cute, boo. Doesn't mean you probably still got your stuff, but your spirit is right. Instantly, there's like a white hue. If your spirit is dark and you have been playing up with some old foolishness, or you're just part of that demonic realm, I'm not speaking about sin, like just your average sin, everyday sin. I'm speaking about demonic stuff, right? Instantly, like you're witches and warlocks and you got some old foolishness going on, right? It's a black cloud. It's dark. Gray is I can't tell which one. I can, but there's something in my own flesh that's trying to figure out, why is it gray? The gray could just mean that the person is guarded because maybe they've been violated and they might struggle with some sexual confusion. And so they have this block up or this guard up where they're used to doing that because they don't want people to really tap into and see that side of them. And so they're closed off and shut off because of something like that. So maybe they're not demonic per se, but there's something that's blocked because something has happened to them. Well, first of all, that's not your business. Either you get black or you get white. If there's gray, you could be onto something, but that's not for you to decipher. Your discernment means anybody who gets connected to you or who I send into your life, right? I give you the discernment to know that this person is for me. It's going to be pure. There's not going to be any confusion of anything because that same person could have been violated, but their spirit is still pure. You still see the white, but you realize something has happened to them. So now when you're sitting here, I'm going all the way left with this, but you're trying to decipher, what is this gray thing? What is this gray thing? Why can't I figure them out? You better leave it alone. At least for me. But twice I played up in that gray area. Woo! Child. You talking about edge snatching. Never again. If I don't feel the white pure cottons, if I don't have white cottons flying all around your head, I ain't got time. You got to go. It is too early in the morning for this foolishness. All right, number, I don't even know. There's a good chance that the relationship or the marriage that you chose early on did not work out. Because, honey, God ain't had nothing to do with that foolishness. God ain't had nothing to do with that foolishness. So, and I'm not going to say that God caused a divorce, because, you know, some people can be very, very sensitive about certain things. I'm not going to say God caused a divorce, but God will allow certain things to get his purpose done, right? Because let's keep it real here. We already know most times that first relationship, that first marriage or whatever, God ain't sending them people. We chose based on some other, and that's not everybody, of course, but we chose it based on our own fleshly desires or whatever. So there's a good chance that that did not work out, because God has to get the person who's designed for your life, designed to do purpose with you, to you. And that could be 15 years later after your divorce. Who knows? Could be 15 days later. Next one. Actually, I'm going to tie that in to what I just said, but it's pretty much the same thing. Like, the relationships don't work out because God have to get you a particular person. And also, in addition, the people that we chose, half the time Satan send those people. So Satan will use that same person to destroy your life, right? Knock you off course where you can't even reach destiny. So, excuse me, that's why a lot of you guys ended up with narcissists, or just, you know, people who were literally designed, not only just narcissists. It could be a chick, a female, who was soulless, but she was fine. She was fine and she was thick, honey, but she was soulless. And the first year was great. And the next year, she took you for everything. She took you for everything, including your mind. And now you can't get up off of the floor. You ain't eating 5 days. You ain't watching 12 days, right? Because she left you. And now all women are all women are soulless. No, sir, that's you in your flesh, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that the person knocks you so much off of your course with heartbreak or just betrayal that it's hard for you to really, really find your footing again. Do you know how many people have went through a bad relationship or a bad marriage and they never recovered from it? Like, seriously, like they're full-blown alcoholics now. They're full-blown dope heads. They're full-blown. They don't have that confidence that they used to have. So it's like they settled. They truly have settled in life. You got to be careful. You have to be careful about the people you allow into your life. Seriously. So that one was tied in. So the next one is, you done got thrown up into a single season, isolation season, isolation or single season or slash. That season is very important. So those of you who are kicking against it and you think that God is just being mean and he don't want to send you your boo, sometimes God have to get you so isolated because there is so much information and insight, especially the further you get in your process. There is so much deep insight and revelation that he's going to give you. And if you all booed up, right, you might be sharing some of that stuff. You might be pillow talking. And there's nothing wrong with that, I get. Well, it is, if God hasn't given you the okay to open your mouth. Because really, with these kind of promises, God will be very, very specific on you to close your mouth. And if he wants you to get wise counsel in the area, he will make it clear on who that person is. But it's probably not going to be your boo. Could be, but probably not. Your boo might try to talk you out of something else, right? So yeah. And again, with the isolation single season, listen. The man or the woman that's going to come into your life in a later season, right, when you get a little further in your process, or again, some of you are already there, that person literally have to be handpicked. I mean, you can go out here and shoot. It's nothing to get a man. It's nothing to get a husband. That's why I don't understand why women keep saying this. And it has nothing to do with, no, go Kizzy, I don't look this way. I don't have your such and such. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do. Child, it has nothing to do. Why do you think a lot of men don't marry women who some catty women would deem to be not beautiful? So if it's really about looks and really about body, then why are some of the most attractive men are married to women who society would say that they're less attractive, I guess? Make it make sense? It's really nothing to get a man. It's really nothing to get a husband. I mean, honestly, it's nothing. It's a mindset. You got to be confident in who you are. Men love confidence. You got to be confident in who you are. You got to know what you carry. You got to know what you carry, because men, some men act like they don't really like boundaries or whatever. Men love boundaries. Don't try me, sir. I will block you tomorrow and see you in heaven if you make it there. Don't try me. But I feel a prompting to sit here for a sec. My good sis or my bros, please understand that when God have you in a single season or an isolation season, it's truly, truly, truly for your benefit. There's so much that gets done in that season, right? He teaches you who you are, your confidence. That's where your confidence. That's when you really, really, really going to gain your confidence, because there is so much that God pours into you. There is so much that He reveals to you. There are so many things that He unpacked that you didn't even know needed to be unpacked. He sends you back to face your traumas, right? So there's so much that happens in that isolation season that there's certain things you can't get when you're constantly distracted. Because relationships are beautiful, right? But it can be a distraction if it's in the wrong season or out of season. So God is not holding anything back from you. There's men all over the place. Again, there's, I guess, so-called shortage of men in the United States. Please travel. Black men are not just in the United States. Please get you a passport. There are black available men everywhere. There are a lot of them here, but if you don't want one here, that's fine. But there are black men everywhere, just not in the United States. But you got to work on you too, because listen, the things that you think you can move a certain kind of way with, certain countries. So just sit there and allow God to work on you, because no matter where you go, until God works on you and that mouth, right? Then no matter where you go, it's not going to work out. Let God heal you in that single season and stop fighting against it. When you're jumping from relationship to relationship, men included, when you're jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship to you can't get what God wants to do. God is trying to heal you. God can't take, how in the world is God going to take you to your promised land? And you have no self-control. You're not disciplined. Like, how? Make it make sense. So that single season that people kick against so much, I didn't. When I was thrown in isolation, I didn't, because I'm naturally introverted, right? So it didn't. And I get some people are just very extroverted, and it like they lose their mind if they feel like they're all alone. I get that, but God is not trying to punish you. He's trying to really get some things into you. So I'll tell you this. If He wants you in there, you can go willingly willingly or by force. Pick your choice. Pick a struggle, sis. Willingly or by force, He will snatch that rug on you. He'll make him leave you. Pay attention to them nudges, because God is gentle. He'll warn you over and over and over and over, but He'll snatch that rug on you. Go ahead and get your edge growth oil. I'm going to tell you now. All right, next one. I think I have 3 more or 4 more. I don't know. You don't think like the masses. You don't move like the masses. So like Pastor R.C. Blaze. You don't move like the masses, honey. That's why they don't like you. That's why they can't figure you out. You just don't move. You don't think like the average person. Remember, excuse me, God instilled something into you very early on that just ignited your spirit. You're just different. Chosen people are just different. People don't get us. That's why we can't be sitting there having no surface conversations and just no, you're at dinner and somebody just telling you how fine you is and everything is about how fine you is and about the surface levels. You're just like, sir, where are you taking me? Do you have a vision? Do you have a plan? Where are we going? Nobody will hear about that foolishness. But you don't think like the masses, and God did that very early on because he knew that, of course, as time went on, right? Especially the times we're in now, people would be against you. So he conditioned you very, 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 very early on to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Ooh, that was good. And especially the times it's coming up where it's like we're going to be the one that is outnumbered, right? So God made you uncomfortable very early. So when that time does come, or is here now, but it will get worse. But you're okay with that. You don't think like them. You're not going to sway my mind to vote one way. You're not going to sway my mind to make me see something that I believe God has put into my spirit, but you want me to see it the way you see it. You're not going to make me hate gay people. I can disagree with it, but I'm not going to hate them just because you hate. No. Those are still God's children. God would deal with them. You work on your gluttony, right? They work on their sexual, whatever they got going on. You work on your gluttony. Whew, somebody just got hit. All right. Next one. I kind of alluded to this earlier, but you walk away from it because it's just getting on your nerves, right? Just the waiting process or the promises. It's just, life be lifing. So it's like, please just let me go back doing what I was doing before I answered this call because I ain't got time for this, right? So you walk away, you get clipped back up. I mean, you be serious. You be serious like this is it. I'm done. I don't want to be bothered with anymore. It's just too stressful. And you walk away from it. But he clipped you right on back. He clips you up and he sends you back. And here we are. Next one. Got two more. Towards the ending. Well, middle as well. Towards the middle, definitely towards the ending, you're going to be hit so many times. You're going to deal with some attacks that the average mind can't even hold. That's how you know God have you covered. That's how you know it's grace upon this thing, because some of the hits you're going to take, that like just your average mind would break. The mind can only hold and deal with so much. But you're going to keep getting hit. And the crazy part about it is the hits be coming back to back. Like the enemy is literally trying to take your mind. This is why it's very important to make sure that you're in alignment, because your grace and you're safe when you're in God's will. But some of those attacks will hit you so hard that if you've never believed in God before, you will believe in God then, because there's no way in the world your mind could still be intact. There's no way you can still be in your right mind if God did not have you covered. So you will be attacked from every angle. And then here's the crazy part about it. I was reading my notes, but here's the crazy part about it. Not only will the demonic realm attack you, because what I'm speaking about now is warfare, like just the demonic realm just throwing their darts and all this other nonsense. Because of course the whole thing is to clip you up, right? Like you're in the middle now. We definitely don't want you getting any closer. Oh no, we got to hit you real hard, right? So the demonic realm will throw everything at you, everything you can think of at you. But here's what makes it even worse: the promise itself would fight against you. The promise itself will fight against you. Person, place, her, thing. The very thing that God calls you to do will fight against you. Make it make sense. It won't. It's supernatural. Lord, if you clip me up, if you gave me this profound, you started me on this process, this tedious process that has so many ups and downs, good and bad, right? Happy moments and delays, frustration. If you put me on this process, why is the promise fighting against me? Why is there giants in the land? All that stuff is going to fight against you. The promise will have giants in the land that you. Okay, so you gotta again take the hits from the demonic realm, which is, listen, that demonic realm got some fire. Let me just tell you. You got to take your hits from the demonic realm. They're after you. Right? You got giants in the land that you already have crippled from what the demonic realm throwing at you. Now I got to fight giants in the land, and now the promise working against me. This ain't right. Well, but you got to realize. Anything that Satan doesn't want you to have, right? Because listen, don't Satan got some tricks up his sleeves, right? So he have to cause all kind of confusion and chaos. If he caused confusion and chaos, what happens? You get frustrated and you walk away, because it's like, I've been hit 1,000 times, right? I done sit here and fight giants in the territory. Now I got to fight you? I ain't got time for this. And what does God do? Clip you up and send you right on back. And your mind was made up that this is it. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't look at me. Ain't nothing happening. Clip you up, send you right on back. This thing ain't for the faint of heart, honey. But let me just tell you, God is so good, because this is why God gives us nuggets along the way. This is why you will have happy moments, and you'll see some processing. Like he let you process away, and then you hit another delay. But he gives you enough to let you know that I see you. I know what you're going through. But each time that you try to give up, God comes right back and give you something. He'll drop something that just kind of dangles, I guess, a carrot over your head that says, nope, come on. I know you're tired, but come on. I know you're hurting, but come on. And finally, you will arrive to a place after taking all your hits where you finally just surrender. And when I say surrender, I mean surrender, because you've now done everything that you could do. So now at this point, all you're doing is chilling. At this point, you're not trying to make anything happen. You've done that, right? Great job. You did that. But at this surrender level, now you're just waiting on God to literally usher in the promises. The worst thing you can do is to give up and quit, because now it seems like things are quiet. The worst thing you can do is to go back and touch anything that God had been clear and told you not to touch along the process. The worst thing you can do is go out and get mixed up with some type of counterfeit. If it's a person, a counterfeit who's going to distract you, because God still have to come back and might gotta download some things to you, but you're all distracted over here. Sit and be still unless you've heard from God. Sit and be still unless you've heard from God. So guys, again, that's just a few things. Maybe I'll do a part 2 to this, because there are so many other things. Oh my God. But I wanted to share this. You guys have a great one.